Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Single Summit IG Live. I'm excited to be here with you guys on this beautiful Friday afternoon. My name is Mausi James Oyebanji. And today we're concluding that beautiful topic, that important topic that we started last week, which is following social media trends. Where should I draw the line? I'm going to be doing this with Moni, my sister, today. But let's leave that aside. I want to introduce you guys to our guests. Last week blessed me. I know you guys rewatched. If you haven't watched, if you didn't watch if you didn't watch again on YouTube, please make sure you do that because you can't miss that part. This episode is the concluding part, is where we tie it all up together. You know, we'll have one of our pastors come to the house to tie it all up, to bring clarity, to share the word of the Lord with us, to help us see it from Bible standard, to help us see the perspective of the Lord regarding this particular matter. So I have here with me someone that is a lover of us young people. Pastor is a pastor, yes. Pastor is a lover of young people. So we are in safe hands today, guys. We have somebody that understands us. So he's going to talk to us like someone that understands us. He's going to answer our questions like someone that does understand us, that can relate with what we are going through and how we feel to actually go through these things that we're talking about, right? I have here with me today Pastor Laide Olanyo.
Thank you so very much, Mausi.
Hi, Pastor. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you so very much.
You are looking good, as always. Pastor is like this. You agree with me? Pastor is always looking good.
Thank you so
Welcome,
very
Pastor.
much.
Please greet the audience.
Thank you so very much for having me today. Good afternoon. And I'm sure we're going to have a wonderful time.
Yeah. Welcome, Pastor. We're so excited. But you know, Pastor, we usually have a short film that we
Yeah,
make.
I'm aware.
Yes, because I'm sure you follow us also. Yeah. So we are going to go into that short film right now, guys. You know, I'm sure some of you have been anticipating. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
So at the back of the strategy is like campaign that is to
my notes with me.
understand. So I mean, if you
so
take this formula anywhere,
checks.
100%.
And you just display.
So definitely,
So you just have to
all
follow
back
my
to back,
tempo
right?
so that
What's
we are
possible
in rhythm. Please
right.
ensure that you take notes, correct any errors that are
So
currently
it's-
in the documents
Once you
before
put
we are
the box,
displayed.
bring
We
everything
don't
up.
want the boss having issues cleaning or raising about it. We worked hard for this.
Take your seat.
Good morning. Today's presentation will cover our quarterly marketing results, with particular focus on Agenda 634 of 666. We've seen notable improvements on our CTR with 20% increase on a year-on-year basis as compared to last quarter. Our conversion rate has also increased significantly as we've seen our customers going further down the funnel from awareness to purchase. It all comes down to one secret sauce: the network. We leverage the fact that the network connects almost all our customers. When we release new products into different nodes of the network, nearby nodes are easily influenced. The blue nodes are the influencers and the red nodes are the followers. Now, these roles can be changed depending on the product.
Can you give us the results vis-a-vis the agenda KPIs?
Absolutely. Our results speak for themselves. Our analysis show that early divorce rates of couples between the ages of 25 to 40 have seen an upward tick. Older couples are also not spared. Over 40% of our female customers are dissatisfied with their bodies. The hourglass figure has been arguably our most successful CTA. Mental health, as suggested by our amiable VP of Anti-Stripes, went viral.
Big famo!
My team and I are currently working on a project to make mental illness as easily transferable as watching a video. We notice some even like to wear it as a badge of honor. Not to blow our trumpets too much, I will just move quickly to unveil a case study of our funnel strategy. We call it the 3-step protocol, and that's how we power our latest network trend, #MeTooCanTalk.
My people, you welcome back to Fearless Films. You know how we do it now. So today's epic episode, I have a story for us that was trending on X yesterday because of a Nigerian woman's statement. So she said, and I quote, "For better for worse, I'm forever under your government." Sorry for the laugh. But in my own opinion, I would say that some women purposely put themselves under bondage. I mean, it's statements like this that makes things come up like you cannot spend your own money, or you cannot make your hair, you cannot do career. And all these rather that all these men that don't like their wives used to say. So let me give you free advice. Don't give your husband everything. When women now, we're supposed to be sharp, be independent. I mean, it's a marriage, it's not a cage, it's a covenant. Let me tell you, Amy, I don't really care how much you bolale. I will not lose my voice because I want to wear a ring. The time when women took subjugation, the silence is gone. Me say fit talk, no be only you. You're not meant to be reading. See, you're meant to run the race. Like I said before, you with purpose. See, that's all for today.
Arike!
See you next time. Bye. Sir.
Arike.
Once the seed is sown and the idea is released into the network, the next phase is called the conception phase. Every seed deserves a home, a place to be nurtured and flourish steadily till it's ready to bear fruits. It's what you call a growth phase.
They say that behind every man is a successful woman. But why do you have to be behind when you can be the catalyst of your success? What's your definition of full potential? How does a woman of God live up to this? It's a really controversial topic. I mean, this is the 21st century. Things are changing. But why is no one considering gender equality?
The seed flows through the network down to the end users, where the concept is introduced and potentially takes root.
I think I prefer this dress. The other one was giving Court of Law vibes. I'm really sure you're looking forward to this. Tiwa.
Yeah? Yes. I'm looking forward to everything, you know. The ambience, the crowd.
I know, right?
The spotlights, my calamari ring, my Bella Rose dress. And by the time you're done with my wedding dress, I'll be the talk all the time.
I can see you're excited.
Yeah.
But what about the marriage itself? You know, they say marriage is that institution you get your certificate before the exam.
Yeah, I know, but one cannot be fully prepared for things like this, you know. But I know we'll pull through. Our love for each other will make this marriage perfect.
Sorry, I don't mean to pry, but what's your idea of a perfect marriage?
You and this your hot seat questions. I don't really know much, but one that is patterned after God, Sha.
Okay, so I take it that you're familiar with the subject of submission in marriage. You know Ephesians 5, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands.
Well, I know it's important, right? But you never can be too sure, you know.
Sure about, what do you mean?
Eva, men cannot be trusted. I know what I'm saying. Have you been following this Me Too Can Talk movement that is trending on social media? You need to see how people have been telling their stories. I even saw this post on a newly wedded couple. The woman gave full access to her husband on her finances. And he...
Now that's what we call, in marketing terms, a conversion.
Well done.
But you didn't show us the last step. The delivery. How did the young lady's story end? Did our seed get to the bottom of the funnel? Or did our competition snatch it before it could take root?
Sir, this is not the only case study. There are others that we can display.
Resume the presentation. We would like to see the end.
Tiwa, the world seeks to intimidate us by every means that standing on God and His word is a doomed undertaking. But this, my dear, this is where we draw the line. Any trend, be it online or in any form that does not agree with God's word and His standards is out for your faith. And with your faith wrecked, your reality in God is gone. You will have no ship to sail safely on life's raging sea. And for this voyage before you, you will need a lot of faith, not popular opinion.
Can you pray for me, Ma?
My darling, of course. Our Father, we thank you. Thank you so much for your daughter. Lord, I pray that you steady her.
Shame. It's a shame when stakeholders at your level rest on your hours and past glory because of flimsy scores and statistics. 99% is nothing to celebrate. Don't you know that one sheep that repents is a potential risk to the others? It's a network. Remember, this game is an absolute one. We either win all or risk losing everything. Team, we are almost there. A few more pages and we will reach the final number. Silence the competition. Intimidate them with our influence. Get them to lower their standards. Book for book, let ours be the last standing. Let the network be every customer's counselor. Their culture, their economy, their life. It's what we built it for. Meeting adjourned.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome to IG Live. So, wow. That short film was something.
I think it's revealing.
Yeah, it is. It is, sir. It is. Welcome back, guys. We have Muni here.
Yay! I'm excited to be here again.
Welcome, Muni.
Thank you so
I love
much.
is it a beret or a cap?
Yeah, it's a knitted bird.
Oh, nice. Love it.
Thank you so much.
We're going right into the discussion, Pastor. Yeah. I think where we should start from, the best place to start from is because from the conversations last week and from the short film that we saw, a lot of people would have been. I personally had some people saying, "Are we saying that social media trends are bad? Is it wrong to actually follow trends? Like, is it wrong? What is the danger? Is it really wrong to follow social media trends? And are there dangers? And if there are dangers, what's the danger? Because most of these trends look very harmful, sincerely speaking. And some of them even look like something that you just jump on and you just use it to pass time. It doesn't even look like it's doing anything, right? So is it wrong to follow trends?
Okay, I think the question here is isolating trends. It's actually a subconscious conversation that the enemy is projecting. And let's remember that before social media came, other vehicles has been used to push these things.
Oh, really?
We had Western movies in the days where Western music, in the days when there were newspapers, when there were no
social media, no internet.
But the issue was that during those times it was much slower. Information moved at a much slower pace, and then the level things didn't go as before things went viral. It will have permeated the traditional media, and then you saw some of those thoughts were pushed via movies, for example. The idea that guys, ladies wear clothes, people cohabiting, some of these ideas pass through this medium and gradually reshape people's perception until they became a norm where people don't see anything about it. Now, the challenge with social media, or the thing with social media, is that, number one, the information moves at a much faster speed, and then they can tailor it to meet each particular darkness. What they can target it via the algorithm to determine what each person consumes.
Wow.
Now,
very true.
Now, so when we are talking about trends, the question is not following trends. The issue is having what standard do I hold my life to? If I hold my life to, whether it's a trend or not, is not the question. I have a standard. And when we look at that, we have to make recourse back to the word. What is the word of the Lord? Because the subtle thing here is that people are forgetting the standard of life. And the question is, what people settle for mostly, what I've seen is it a sin? Tell me where it is wrong. Where it is wrong.
Yes. Where is it in the Bible?
Where is it in the Bible? So the question is, the issue is this. The line, what people are trying to define is right or wrong, good or evil. And that traditional, that question, that age-long question is resolved by Bible. That it's not, there's traditionally what we call sin, what is evil. People who are even non-believers know that these things are evil. But the definition for the believer is not that. And so what the believer, or the one who has walked with Jesus, is calling right or wrong, like you mentioned last week, are basically things that edify. If it's not building me up, it's pulling me down. It is not idle.
Yes, sir.
It is not idle. Nothing is idle. Because it's a graduate. I remember as a young believer, one of the things that challenged me then is this passage in Matthew chapter 12, verse 36. That you will give account for every idle word that you speak on the day of judgment. Every idle word. When I sat back, I realized that God expects every word every conversation to be full of life, full of grace. He said, let your words be seasoned with salt, that it may minister grace.
Yes.
So the question is Casablanca, what is Casablanca ministry? What is every, if I judge my conversation, my words by a certain standard, some things will just fall out of the basket naturally because they fall within the context of folly. And last week you were talking about the issue of some of these things just for fun, they come from comedy and skits and all of that. But I think the standard of faith is explicit. Ephesians chapter 5 verse 4, sorry. Ephesians 5:4 says that we should not, let me just read it quickly. Sorry, just 1 minute. Ephesians 5:4. He said, neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient. So some things are not convenient. Some things are not, in the words of Timothy, they are not compatible with sound doctrine. Some things are not, they don't align with the conversation of faith. They are, in a statistical term, mutually exclusive. You can't have this one and have this one. They just fall out of the basket. So when Paul is talking, admonishing Timothy concerning things that he should do, he said things that are not compatible, things that do not align with sound doctrine. Some conversations do not align with sound doctrine. If you look at, sorry, I'm quoting a lot of scriptures because of our time. Brevity of our time.
It's fine.
Now, if you look at the standard of scriptures with I particularly love the way I think it's sorry yes, that's Ephesians 5:4. A translation put it like this. He said, do not use obscene, shameful language when you talk to people. Do not talk foolishly. Do not use vulgar or indecent language, because it is not appropriate or fitting that God's people should talk like that.
Wow.
Instead, people should know how much you're thankful to God for what he does. So there's a man of now, it's not because it's a sin, it's because some words are foolish. Foolishness is not necessarily sinful in the sense, but it's just not it's unseemly, it's indecent, it's not proper, it does not edify.
Yes,
so the question is this: people's standards have been so lowered also by social media and the fact that really it's not wrong. But if you see, like you mentioned, there are things that are not unlawful, but they don't build me up. And because they don't build me up, now, because look, if a thing is not adding to me, you think it's leaving you the same.
No.
It's not leaving you the same. Why? You are racing against time. So it has wasted your time. And time is life. So if it's not adding to me, I think I'm remaining the same, but I have just wasted that time. It has just useless my time. The time I ought to use to add life, I have fretted it away. That's why I said you will give account. Not just of the things you get, because that time is supposed to be converted. We ought to use that time to procure life, and you are not using it to procure life.
Wow.
So if it's not adding to me, it is actually wasting my time, and in essence, wasting my life.
Wow.
So it's not just about trend; it's about everything. So if I draw the bottom line and I rule a standard, the standard for which God expects me, holds me accountable to, then I discover that really. Another perspective to it is this. I think that was spurred by when I was reading one of the fathers of the faith, Brother Biliakoni. He said, you know that Matthew 13, when he's talking about the wayside art, that the wayside art is the wayside art because it's the closest to traffic. The wayside is by the way. So a lot of traffic. That the closer you are to traffic, the less fruitful you become.
Wow.
And I found it true as a young believer that you can be close to traffic and then be very, very indebted to God. Check our parents. Parents in the faith, or even business mongoose. They don't spend their time on social media following trends. They can create it, then they are isolated from it. So you can never really, really amount to anything meaningful by pouring all your life, attention, feeding what social media or whatever media you are paying attention
Wow.
to is feeding. It's
Wow,
not possible.
Pastor has said a lot. He has said a lot. Look at this analogy he gave, right? So, is it wrong to follow social media trends? The question is it building you up? Because if it's not building you up, it's pulling you down, right? He mentioned something about this whole influence of trends that started way before internet came, and that reminded me of back then Black American movies where you watch the gangster neighborhoods where they sag their trousers. How did sagging come into our community?
They're selling ideas, there's something that it's a subconscious learning.
Yes,
that's
sir.
what they do in advertisement, and it's subconscious because you think you are entertaining, you are relaxing, but you are putting thoughts inside of you.
Exactly.
You're putting a consciousness inside of you. Now it looks idle. Some does, like I said, some doesn't even looks very, very harmless. But even the harmless ones are very, very harmful in the sense that if it has not wasted anything, it has wasted your time.
Yes. And if you Pastor, if you look at that, people that started sagging their trousers as a result of that exposure or that influence, pulling down your trouser naturally, especially because your bum is not showing, may not look like a sin. Because the Bible does not really necessarily talk about sagging, but it's about identity.
Yes.
You looking like that, what does it make you look like? How does it portray you to the world? Irresponsible, right? So also we can apply that to what we're talking about here when we say trends. The Bible may not necessarily say, oh, don't sing a certain song. It may not necessarily say that from what Pastor is saying. But when you expose yourself to these trends, there's an identity is forming of you. Now, does that identity align with what you stand for? Does it show you as a follower of Christ in that sense, as a believer, right? So I feel like I've taken a lot from everything, Pastor. I'm just explaining my own thoughts, the process in my mind while you were just talking.
Sorry. I think the issue about isolating it just as trends takes you away from the root of the matter. Meaning that if it's not trendy, it's harmless. Is that what it means?
No. That's also another.
If it's not trendy, it's harmless. No. That is not it trendy doesn't mean it's also harmless.
Yes, sir.
And that it's so I must have a standard, whether it's trending or not. I know what I believe. I know who I'm following, and the standard with which I judge is what is adding to me spiritually, what is building me up. Once I judge by that standard, I discover that I have an eye to just push away. And like I think I was telling someone, there are people, still young people of our age, that live all their life and they are not aware of all these things. They seem to be isolated from all these trends, because one of the fears that in Art of Men is, these things will pass me by. I will miss important things. Okay, I have to stay online because of important things and all of that. And I think one of the things, decisions I made God help me to make, was, if it's necessary, it will come and meet me. It will filter. If it's very, very important, it will filter to get to me where I am. If it's an information I need to partake of, otherwise it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. I must not be afraid of losing out. I know we still get into, if time permits us, the business side, people that use some trends to promote business and all of that. But as an individual, the fear of me missing out of a generation or missing out of a conversation, you discover that really that fear is unfounded. It's actually a false narrative of Satan to make you actively participate in something that will destroy you. And really, if you check the lives of those, like I said, who are having significant impact. Let me use that word. Both in the spiritual sector, both in the business sector, you discover that many of those folks, really, really, really not. I know that nowadays there are influencers that are making
because I was going to say that, and they're making a lot of money.
Big cash money online these days. And the truth is this: the social media space is very. I want to choose my words very accurately. It's very, very unique in the sense that it's giving platform to everybody.
Yes.
Platform to everybody. Traditional media, before you are given a platform, your content is proven, your values are proven, the things that you're
it's even expensive.
Yes,
it's expensive.
But one of the things that social media has done is that social media has given platform for even fools. Every single person, and this is also based on the advocacy for everybody, free speech, and everything.
Freedom of speech.
Now, that has led to a proliferation of content. It says that everybody pushes their mind on the media. And folly has been mixed with wisdom. That folly has sort of subtly become the wisdom of our day. When I say folly, when I say folly, I'm not accusing anybody.
Of course.
But what I'm saying is that foolishness, Proverbs, I think it's 18, Proverbs 18:2 said, Proverbs 18:2, sorry, I don't want to go out of context. It said, a fool has no delight in understanding, but that he should bear his heart out. That is express himself.
A fool. That's a fool.
A fool. He doesn't take delight in understanding. All that he wants to just bear his heart out, bear his heart out. And that's why you see
everywhere.
Social media. And sometimes, because of the number of people who subscribe to folly, it becomes a trend. Everybody says, wow, identify with that. And that doesn't make it right. That it has large followership, that is forming a trend, doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it full. Doesn't make it full of wisdom. And Bible says that he that walks with the wise shall be wise. The companion of fools will be destroyed. So it's still the same principle, but now in the social media space. But if you are a person guarded by the principles of life, then you will know that you know how to guard your conversation with discretion.
Wow, I love that. I love the foundation. I love how that I think Pastor has even answered our next question, but maybe you should talk a little bit on it. And the question is that how do we determine what trends to follow? I felt like you've touched on it, but maybe you can.
Okay, now the question, like I said, is some people argue that there are Christian trends, there are seemingly harmless trends that I think I was hearing some of the trends. I heard them for the first time last week. I was like, wow. Some you even find a reference to them in messages. Maybe a minister even uses it to describe something. Because, like I said, sincerely, we are not out of this world. We hear them. And sometimes you get in contact with these things and you hear them. That you hear them, sometimes you understand the standpoint where it is coming. And sometimes as a minister, you can use them in a message, for example, to show a generation that you are not oblivious of what they are going through and the things that they are saying. But the end purpose of using the trend is actually to attract them, to turn them to what is right. For example, I can say, I can make mention of a particular trend in a Minister of Enjoyment.
Okay.
I think I heard that one, Minister of Enjoyment. And the concept of enjoyment that thought is trying to project is a person that is actually in control of his life and is actually using this world very well. Do you understand it? And not lacking in anything. Do you understand it? And just taking life as it comes. But then that thought, that notion itself is very, very destructive to the young man. While there is no law preventing you from eating the fruit of your labor, it can make you squanderous. That every single resources that comes to your head, you just want to consume it. It's set there, just makes you want to consume every single thing that you, and then the subtle mindset is also that you begin to lose something, a value that is very, very necessary for the survival of your soul. That is modesty, for example, or cutting your how do you call it?
Maybe moderation, contentment.
Do you understand it? Now you discover those are values that ancient people who the Lord, for example, used to build even successful business, not even just Christian character. Now, those things, those trends, when they get into your being, they can ruin a work that has been done, and then you just become loose. You become loose, and resources, opportunities that you ought to use to build solid foundation or longevity in life, you destroy it, and then you live the day as it comes. And really, that's not the plan of God for us. That's why this generation, there is a fear, really, concerning the millennials, Gen Zs, that the wealth that is coming, even though they will make much, we get to lose so much also. Because the values that's been projected into us, both business-wise, both in the spirit, there is no structure to sustain or retain it. I don't know if I'm...
Yes, sir. Wow. What did you have anything to
Yeah, I just feel that someone will be asking, so does it mean that whatever trend that is going on, because even we have Christian trends, slangs like what's this new one now?
No.
I have decided. Yes, no.
No, any small thing, or it's too late, something like that. Does it mean that? I mean, it's a Christian. Is this still something that we should be mindful of?
So I think what Moni is trying to ask is, now from everything we're saying, it's looking like, okay, watch what you eat. Basically, that's what Pastor is saying.
Basically.
Watch what you eat, watch what you consume. But how about Christian trends or trends that support?
Now, the beautiful thing about even Christian trends is this. Remember, first and foremost, trends really do not establish anybody. They can harvest, but they don't establish. They can harvest, but they don't establish.
That's interesting.
So I remember one at a particular time, one father in the body, I won't mention the name now, was concerned about the way this was a time where they were just doing choreography in church, drama, and all of those things that were not in the traditional church. So the church began to, of course, youth were clamoring for it, all of those dance and all of those things. And they were like, that's this. Then the Lord told him, look, I have many children. If you don't do this, I will not be able to save them. That's the conduit that he wants to use to attract them in. But so he let his guards down, in quotes, to allow those people to start doing this thing. But he knows that is not where they will be established. Now, out of those people that are attracted or that now feel conducive that, okay, now church is for us, part of those people, in trying to establish it, by the time you are trying to now funnel them to another, just an inverse of what they showed in that movie, that short clip. And by the time you try to funnel them, some people will fall away. But some people will get more serious because first and foremost, you've shown me that church can accept us. So also, trends really don't establish anybody, but they can harvest. They can be a platform to make people lose their guards and feel relaxed. As it is in the world, so also about faith. So really, sometimes we have to be mindful of certain trends, in quotes, that are the level of damage they are able, for some Christian trends, in quotes, really they have no damage, so to say, that they will cause if you engage in it. But to be established, that is not where you are. You have to move beyond that trend. Really, to have depth inside of you. That's where the labor now is. But if you settle just at that level of what is trending, you will never, very, very soon, another trend will carry you away.
I think, Pastor, one of the questions I wanted to ask was the fear of missing out, which you've touched on. I don't think we should go back there. Like, are we missing out by not keeping up, But then let's now touch on how can a young person handle that pressure of wanting to belong, wanting to, be a part of. The pressure is out there. It's real. It's forming.
Even at place of work, I remember there was a time when it was. I think it's a company where I worked, and our director asked us, the team leads, that he asked us to do certain things, and we needed trends, to be able to pass that
message.
So yes, I think myself and one other person did not. We could not. No, we were saying, but we were not. I was not. She knows I could do it well, but then what I needed was something that if I had been following the social media, I would have used it well. Like I would have been able to come with dynamism of these things, and then be able to, when I was projecting defending the project, there's a way I would have infused it into it, and they'd be like, wow, but I was just cool. It was just like I was just,
You're flat.
I was just flat. I was just giving them the normal, basic, things. I'm like, my boss was just like, okay.
So I think
you have not hit it. You have not hit it. That's what she keeps saying. You have not hit it. The other person came and they have to use social media and say, that's it. So, in that kind of case, if I was not helped in my heart, I'll just like, why, all of that. So that's the question now. For some people who like, am I not missing out? Would it not affect my work? I mean, I'm also, like you said, sir, we're in this world, we're not out of the world, But how do we infuse this so I can stay relevant?
How do we handle the pressure? Yes. How do we handle the pressure?
Because that was a pressure for, it would have been a pressure for someone else.
I love the scenario that you gave, because really the issue of peer pressure, work pressure, and all of that, it's not new. Of course, the medium changes over time, but it's not new. And I think that I know. Okay. I know very certainly that every serious believer will be faced with the pressure to make compromises. Now, in our places of work, especially if you understand the line of business, or depending on your department, you face it will come in diverse ways. But the same thing it's still the same pressure, and it's the goal of it is that this thing should become your life. Like what your boss was expecting is that you should flow from inside.
Yes.
That it should be the life. It should not just be what you say. No, she's not content with you being informed about it or being able to put out the information there. No, she wants you to say it from your heart. That way, it will be anointed. That way, it will be anointed. That way, when it's passing to past life, that life that is saying is the life of the thing. Do you understand it?
Yes.
Now, that's where you have to draw the line as a believer. Being on my job and then being able to survey it for when they want to make it my life other than Christ. Do you understand it?
Yes,
because that subtle warfare is going on every single day. And as a believer, you must not be afraid of your life. Sincerely. Because at the time it will the pressure would come, either you take this or you lose it. Either you do it the way I want you to do it, or you leave our team. Because some people will say, you are not a team player, you are not doing it the way can't you see this other, he's also a believer, he's also a deacon in church, but when it comes to this, he does it with his whole heart. That his spirit is there, but you know that there is a chamber of your soul that you cannot open that into that thing. There's a chamber of your soul that you cannot, even though I can do it as a profession, as an assignment,
content creator.
It's not entering the chamber of my heart. Are you understanding what I'm saying? It's not entering the chamber of my heart. I am not allowing it to enter that place. That's the place really that Satan is going for, where you use it as the law of life. You allow it, and because when it gets to that place, it begins to subconsciously dictate your life.
Wow.
So that's where the warfare is. You must know that Ojogulawa. Do you understand?
Always.
We are in the midst. We are in a warfare. We are in the war front. And then, if it means that for that sake, I lose my job, no problem. Do you understand? No problem. That's where we must be very. Now, I'm not giving you an excuse not to be very inefficient. That's not what I'm saying.
Or be nonchalant at your work.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you are on top of you are delivering on your job. But when they now say they are particular about this thing being your life, that's where I'm talking about. That you've done all the work, you've done all the assignment, you've done everything, you've given it to them. Then I said, no. We've had people like that who they are delivering on the job, but they just say, you are not flowing with the spirit of this business. And what does mean the spirit of this business? There is a life, there's a culture they want you to drive that will make you an ambassador of what they are doing.
Of a life that is not the life of Christ.
Yes, of a life that is not the life of Christ.
Yes,
that's
sir.
where you must draw the line.
Yeah.
Do you understand it? So we will be informed. Definitely in this world we'll be informed. We'll know the things that are going on.
Yeah.
That is where they are necessary. There are certain things you don't even need to, you won't even know about.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Depending on how you position yourself and what you are really, really seeking.
So is pastor saying don't care about your job? Is he saying be nonchalant? Is he saying don't be efficient enough? That's not what he's saying. But he's saying that when we expose ourselves to these trends, or when we go on social media, we go on the internet, we should be able
especially
to see.
for content creators.
Yes, and everybody that has to do, maybe your job has to do with, being online and handling things online. We should make sure it doesn't get to the chambers. In fact, pastor, people that are not even content creators, you're in your house, even a housewife, or you're a sister that you're just doing a business and you're in the house. Those things they come.
Now,
whether
I wanted to talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
The issue is this. One of the disciplines, because like I said, these things are also targeted. They are not idle. We must know that in our subconscious.
Yeah.
So I am a person, I am going on social media. I see these things. I just don't laugh and pass. I either vote it down or block it. I want to see less of these things. Less of these things. So I dictate the things that the algorithm shows me. So by voting it down or blocking, I don't want to see more of these things. For example, in my Google feeds, some of the things come up. I block it. I don't want to see more of this content.
Yeah.
So you will start removing deliberately. I see less and less. So don't just tell me you're on social media it comes to you. I can't do anything again. There are many things you can do against it. There are many things that because the more votes some of these things get, the more they sell. The more votes they get. If I show that now in my space, I should dictate what comes to my space.
Yeah.
So by my values, and the more I vote down some type of content, the less of it I see.
That's true.
Yeah,
So we have to be conscious about it.
Yes.
So there are some news feeds I've banned it, I've blocked. Once I see that, I block it. I'm not just saying this one. Anything from this source, I don't want to see it again. And they are compliant.
Wow. So there's really no excuse to say, because I also remember from what Pastor is saying, I remember that the makers has said something like this, that you can control what you consume. That the things that come to your feed is a result of everything you have been eating on the internet over time. That's what they're bringing to you. And from what Pastor is saying, is an eye-opener for me, because I now understand that all the things I see is a factor of what I want to enjoy. Some of us will really yes,
sorry,
sir.
I'm interjecting.
Yes, sir.
Let's read Romans chapter 1, the last verse.
Okay.
Romans, these things really is about what we like.
Yeah.
What is inside of us. That's Romans chapter 1. Romans 1. Sorry.
No problem.
Romans 1.
Okay.
The last verse, 32.
Okay.
He said, these people are aware, knowing the ordinance of God, that they which practice such things
are worthy
of death. Not only do them, but also what?
Having pleasure.
Having pleasure. So sometimes you are not doing a thing, but you are putting a like.
Yeah.
You are watching it. You are watching it repeatedly.
And it will keep coming as you are watching.
So your viewing, your like is as bad as the person. You take the like. In fact, sometimes we hide in the fact that I can't do it, but thank God somebody is doing it. So our soul rejoices when you see that thing. Something leaps up inside of you. Something leaps up. Whether it's a filthy communication, whether it's an unholy word, whether something. Sometimes it's the residue of the word inside of us just leaps up. I for like this kind of life, but this faith when I they do. Don't hold my hand. So sometimes we just open the door, we just look at it again. This babe said, it's the way the sleep just get. We just use that to water or pour oblation on the idol we cannot publicly do outside. So we have to know and then kill those things gradually. Killing it means downvoting it, peeling it, block access to it, blocking it.
I don't want to see
all
this
the things in your field is righteousness.
Yes, that's
right?
it.
The things that they are feeding, even social media is feeding, can be all righteous because you have conditioned your feed so much that everything you are seeing is righteous, things that uplift, things that edify.
Wow.
You can do it
So we actually have a choice. There's no excuse. We have a choice.
Yes.
I've learned a lot. Pastor, thank you so much. It just feels like we should keep going, but we actually have to round up. And Pastor, do you have anything you want to add or say in a minute?
The truth is this, for every genuine believer. I know that we are at different levels of faith. I mean, different level of growth.
Okay.
But one thing, one ambition, one desire that was burning in my heart when I read from Daddy Beliakan at that time was that I want to journey as far away from the road, from the way, from traffic as possible. Because the farther inward I get, the more secure. You see, every farmer knows that the most fertile soil is not at the roadside. It's far inside the dense forest where it's secluded, quiet. So the farther away you are, the more the probability of your fruit bearing and survival and nourishment. You should not be a believer that is identified with trend. It shows that you are very, very shallow. You are you are next to the world.
Wow.
You are actually at the fringe of the world, really. You are just walking on a tightrope. And anything can happen, you fall back there.
Wow, Pastor, you touch things.
Move inside.
You are touching
run
things.
inside as far as possible to a place where some things will even happen 2 years before you realize that the trend came and went. And
you didn't even know. I mean, that's a goal. That's something to
2 years.
Yeah.
What? When? How? Because you are so not. You are so into God that you are not here.
Yes.
Yeah. You can be doing that when you are at work every day. I remember every one of us. Sorry, more than one.
Wow. Okay, so guys, it's really been a blessing, and we've seen that it's not like they're not saying we live in this world. We're definitely going to see. In fact, these trends, they influence our fashion, they influence our language, they influence us in every way. They can, but then you have a choice, right? Those things that you come across, those things that you see on your social media feed is a factor of the things you allow. So you can, I mean, Instagram even puts the option. I don't want to. This is inappropriate. I don't want to see this. So when you block off some certain content over a period of time, you stop seeing certain things. The reason why you see those things because you have pleasure. Somewhere you are pouring, like Pastor say, you're worshiping those things behind closed doors. That's why you're still getting, and if you're a content creator, you have to use social media, you have to use some of these trends to do your work. Pastor mentioned that do not let it get to the depth of your heart. Don't let it touch, don't open your soul up to it. There's a way it can be used, and it will be just, you will just handle it so lightly that it doesn't form your person. It doesn't incite a response from you. Or how do I say, it doesn't make you want to jump on the trend or behave. It doesn't inform. There's a way I'm trying to describe it, but it doesn't make you begin to act.
You don't adopt it as a principle of life.
As a principle of life, you don't begin to do what you are seeing, right? So, Moni, do you have anything to add?
Well, Pastor has blessed us. For
really
me,
blessed us.
I'm even in processing everything he said, and I am blessed. Now he's judging me, and I want to also add that since they said what we eat actually can you see it on our body.
Yes.
When you don't eat well, the medical people say when you begin to see certain things on your face, on your body, then that is a result of what you eat.
What is it from inside?
And that's the same way we can also apply it to our spiritual life. How much you carry this thing into your system, it will show in your conversations.
Yes.
You see, sometimes we pray a lot, like, God, I don't want to get angry. God, I don't want to do this. But you keep feeding on things that you see anger. People are fighting, and people like, yes, I like the way the person is, expressing the anger, or these things.
Sorry. Lastly, the same thing with movies. They do character. They like this guy. This man did it. The actor, they kill his family. Then they went on revenge. Say, well done. Subconsciously, you are subscribing to something.
Yes,
to revenge. So you see that as you are growing, God begins to say, stop watching this kind of movie. Stop doing this. Now, the same thing for social media. They are telling you, oh, wow, I love the way this guy is. Oh, no, I love their love story. Oh, you are subscribing to things.
Yeah.
And we must really guard our hearts.
We must guard our hearts. We'll round up on that note. Guard your hearts, guys. Guard your hearts. The questions are too much. Leave all those things. Guard your heart. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you so much, Pastor. I wish we had a lot of time.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
sir.
Thank you guys for participating. See you
so
next.
much. Bye, guys.
Bye.